Hi everyone, thank you for watching. This is my sealed pool that I ran in my RCQ. If you're enjoying the content, please hit that follow or subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Um, I will upload this to YouTube also afterwards. If you have any comments, please write them below. So this is my sealed pool that I played at the RCQ. It was 6 rounds, and I went 4-2 with it. And I squeaked into 8th place to make the draft. I started off 3-0. Then I lost my next 2 rounds, very close matches, and then won my winning in to get 8th place. So as you notice, I'm playing all 5 colors, but I'm really just dabbling in red, dabbling in black, and I'm mainly just green-white. So let's kind of go over I'll start off with the creatures, then I'll go on to the cards below, and then I'll go to my lands. So Silver Deputy is great. You just, obviously you want to hit your land drops in this format. It helped. Frish's Varmint was incredible. Just the fact that it can destroy enchantments is so good. Look how much enchantment removal I'm running. The fact that this can, hit those things is just so powerful, especially later in the game. Just a fixing creature, which is great. And this guy was he's, a roadblock, or he just gives, a big dance of the tumbleweeds trample, or this guy, something just later in the game. Beastbound Outcaster, most of the time I ended up just playing this as a 3-mana 3/3. I didn't draw that many cards from it, because if you look at it, really only had like 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures, and then this if I do something, or this if I pump it. Maybe this if I pump. But I mainly only had like 4 creatures, so I didn't draw a card that much from it. 5 creatures. Dover was just fine 4-2. Patient Naturalist was great in the deck. Obviously, you want to hit your lands. I'm just trying to hit my land drops of all my colors to play all my powerful spells to win the game. And Rambling Possum. Rambling Possum was fine. This is actually the card I voted out the most. I just felt like it was the worst card in my deck. In the end, it actually wasn't the worst card in my deck. It was the second worst card, but we'll get to what I think is the worst card in a little bit. But Possum, I boarded out a bunch, and for other creatures or other spells. Terror was just awesome, but as soon as it came down, everyone just killed it immediately. But the fact that they had to use a removal spell on it was just great, because I always plotted it. I never had 2 red. If you notice, I have up to 4 red sources. So I always just plotted it and cast it that way. But that was fine with me, because, it made them use their mana. It made them use a kill spell. And then I have 2 different ways to get it back from my graveyard, so I didn't really care that much. Bruce was great. I mean, those 2/2 Oxes are great, and this the fact that by the time I could play this card, I could basically cast any card in my deck. So this card was just awesome. Paladin MVP, gaining 3 life, won me many matches, just being able to gain 3 life. And Spectre was just, Marauder was just great overall as a flying threat. If you do notice, I'll go to my lands real quick before going to this thing. I only opened up 4 deserts, and I played all 4 of them. This one is blue. I don't have a single blue card in my deck. But the fact that this desert just did 2 things is the whole reason why I played it. One, it triggers this, so if I can tap it, untap it if I need to, for the critical crimes. And the second is it deals 1. And the and the other was Desert Stew. I think you should probably play every desert you get, because you're probably splashing at least 3 or 4 colors in this format. So even if it's only 1 color, you should just splash the desert almost always. Yeah, so I just splashed all 4 of these, played every desert I had. So Jitte is actually the worst card in my deck. That's just 100% the worst card. I thought the Possum was, but this card I only played it twice. there's just so many times where I didn't even cast it. Like I had the mana to cast it, but I just won the game that turn anyways, so there was no point in me casting a Jitte. It could have been a 2/2 creature and it would have been way better. It could have been a Rooftop Assassin, a Binding, a Snakeskin Veil, a Skulldug, a Humiliate. Like these are the 5 cards I boarded in the most. Um, and this would have been way better. Like that would have been way better than this Jitte. Chance of the Tumbleweed just gives you a big threat, big creature. Love this card. This card was MVP. Reanimate, also MVP. I got very lucky getting this one. This is probably one of the best ones you can get in the what's it called? Breaking news. There's 2 games where my opponent went like turn 2, cycle Armadillo, the 7/7 Ward 3, get a land. I just was like, okay, I'll lose 6 life, reanimate, and just won the game that way. I'll skip these real quick and go to my Badlands room. Obviously, this card is just incredible. It gets one of your enchantments back if you need to, or 2 creatures. So going into my removal. So here's my white removal. If you notice, it's enchantment, enchantment, white green, but enchantment. And then I got a final showdown. Final showdown was great, but to be honest, I only drew it twice out of all, I don't know, 17 games I played, 16 games I played. No, sorry, I drew it 3 times, cast it twice, but only one time it actually mattered. I only won 1 game because of it. The rest of the games I just won, like throughout the rest of the deck. Part of the problem is you need triple white. I was only running 3 planes, but I had 2 of these, so it's like, the only other time I cast it was one time I just got bored and just made a creature indestructible. Just to give, I gave a creature indestructible to make this a bigger creature. That's the only reason why I did it. But it was fine. Final showdown. My green removal is great too. I mean, Clear Shot and Throw from the Saddle, obviously MVPs. And Desert's Dune was definitely the worst of my removal, but you can't really argue about, I have 4 deserts, so this at most could be a 6/6. Most of the time I did it for 4, to be completely honest. Because I always got a desert with this. And I always got a desert with this. So usually I had 1 desert in play, and then I had another one, got another one, and then cast this for -4/-4. Um, but yeah, so this is pretty much the deck. It was pretty solid overall. One of the decks I lost to was just the most insane. They just had the greatest pool of all time. So there's just no way I was going to win that game, that match. They had Thundermaw, not Thundermaw. They had the 5/4 Dragon, and then they had the 4/6 Horse that makes copies, 2 copies. So, and that's just like the beginning of their their insane pool of rares. So I lost to that one, and that was my first loss. And then my second loss, I just lost to a very aggro Azorius deck. Sorry, Selesnya deck. I was a little surprised at how aggro they were in a pool, like in a sealed pool, but I just never got my final showdowns when I needed it. When I had, like, I purposely made my mana so I could cast it, but I just never got it. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's pretty good overall. Against with the opponent that I was talking about with the dragon and the horse, I just brought in both these, to get rid of their things. I brought Rooftop Assassin in a lot when I think I needed to gain more life, like against the aggro decks. You just like need to gain 2 life randomly. But yeah, so that was it. I really enjoyed this deck. It's pretty fun. If I'd build it again, I'd probably cut this Jitte for either Rooftop Assassin, Binding Negotiation, or Snakeskin Veil. It'd probably be one of those 3. Humiliate and Skullduggery were definitely the worst 2 of them, so that's really the only card I'd change from the pool. But yeah, so that's it for the thing. So then what I did was we drafted in top 8, and now I'll get to that deck real quick. So here's my draft deck. So my draft deck was basically mono black, um, splashing red and green. Um, but so I'll just start off. The first pick one, pack one. I opened Isa. Super lucky, very happy, very fortunate. One of the best rares in the set, best bombs in the set. So as soon as I took this card, I said I needed to start drafting every black card I can to try and cut black. And that's exactly what I did. I just kept drafting black cards after black card after black card. Um, and then also because of its ability, I tried drafting lands as highly as possible, but unfortunately I only got 3. I really wanted more, but I only got 3. I wanted like 4 or 5. Funny story, I won, and I cast this card only once, maybe twice, but I never got the. I never committed a cry. I always won beforehand. Um, so, but I'll tell you about an interesting story I had that came up with this later as we go on through the deck. Um, so pretty much what happened was in pack one, I think I took the exact order I took was Gisa into um, Blood Hustler into Volt Plunder into like double Morning Surprise, basically. So these are all the other cards I drafted. Um, these are the ones that didn't make the cut, but I'll go into them in a minute. And then in the end, like I ended up taking like 1 or 2 red cards. Like I took this 1 red card, I think, early, sometime in the middle. But all these green cards you see in this pack, I didn't get. I didn't have a single green card in my deck until pack 3, and I didn't really open anything. And there was I was basically mono black then. I had both of these cards. So the first pack I took like these creatures. The second pack I got all removal. I got a Consuming Ashes. I got a Murder. I got this Agony. I got Unfortunate Accident. I got a Deserts. No, I didn't get Deserts 2. I got like Gigapede. I got like this is like the only creature I took, I think, and like this Rock Sentinel. Um, and then in pack 3, I just opened up this. That's why I took these early, because I was like, if I get an Honest Ruskin or the Badlands, I'm definitely taking it because Gisa's so good. You know, you just want to get it back. Then somehow I got a second one pack. Like, I got this, and then I got past a Spinewood Paladin, so I took that. And the next card was like a Vermint. Like, I just ended up taking all green cards. Because there was no black cards in the pack, there were only green cards. But yeah, I mean, pretty much it ended up being just like good creatures, bring them back from the graveyard, and just a bunch of removal spells. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess, 6. One really interesting thing that happened to me throughout the game was on the first round. It was game 2 of top 8. I played a Stinger. I attacked. My opponent didn't block. I committed a crime to kill his creature with the explosives. And I had no cards in hand. My opponent had no cards in hand. And I was debating what to get back. I could get my Gisa, which is obviously my best creature, but I had nothing to do with it. In the end, I decided to get an Honest Ruskin and brought back my Spineward Paladin. Because I figured if I don't draw a way to commit a crime, this is just so much worse than, you know, having a 3-2 and a 5-4. And then the second round, I got paired. I was going against Selesnya aggro. You know, they're playing all the mounts, everything. Luckily, I just had so much removal against them that it didn't matter. Game 1, I got down to 1 life, and then eventually my Blood Hustler, I top decked it, and you know could go to 2, went to 3. You know, just slowly dug my way out of there with Blood Hustler. And they were at like 45 life or something at that point. But I just kind of just kept chipping away by gaining 1 life. So even when they could attack me, I would never die. I just stayed at like 1 or 2, and then eventually I got a Morning Surprise to bring back a Paladin, and it just really went from there. I didn't have any trouble with the mana in this deck. Mana was great. I always had the colors I needed every match of every game. So that's that. And then here are the cards I didn't play. So this is what I opened up pack 2, pick 1. I was basically mono black, and I was like, oh my god, another final showdown. This is amazing. And then I just didn't get really any white. I took this Thunder Lasso pretty early in pick 2 because it's just so good with this Glissa. You can crime with it on, automatically. And then I had like Scum, Fake Your Own Death. I did board in. It might have even maybe should have been in the main, but it didn't come into crime, and that's why I didn't play it. I'd rather just play the Mortar Surprise and get something back. But I could have easily played a Fake Your Own Death. In the end, I ended up sideboarding this out some games for one of my Morning Surprise and just played 1-1. But yeah, so that was it. That's the pool. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know.